Listen, the truth of the matter is, most people that are on TRT have not injected large amounts of testosterone at once. In fact, these days, because the internet is telling us to inject more frequently, most people are injecting little micro amounts of testosterone and have never gotten the full experience of injecting a bolus of testosterone into their muscle. There are key distinctions in terms of feels and function, and particularly sexual function, that arise when you inject a lot of testosterone at once versus a little bit of testosterone in microdepots. And I want to explain what it feels like to dose in the 150 to 250 milligram range of testosterone all at once. Because there's a certain experience on TRT, both in terms of energy, anabolism, as well as sexual function, that unless you do this, for some individuals, you will never get. So in this video, I'm going to break down what a big injection feels like, what it does to energy. I'm going to show you what it does to anabolism, and I'm going to explain what it does to libido and erections. All right, before we start the video, Low Cortex Labs, which is my company, is a TRT guidance and sexual dysfunction resolution company. Our primary products can be found in the description of this video, but the most popular lately have been High Dose TRT Mastery. It's a premium video course that shows you how to mega dose test, get the libido and erections, get those settled, but also enjoy cycle level anabolism. If you're looking to stop playing small with TRT, get this course. Thank me later. Okay, it's 20% off, codes on the screen. If you need my help to fix your TRT protocol, I've got a number of options, starting from the TRT Protocol Audit, which is a 25-minute deep dive call with me, and then me auditing your protocol and giving you suggestions to fix your biggest problems. You can book that in the description of this video. There's also the TRT Sexual Function Enhancement Consult to fix libido and erections on TRT. The Sports TRT Consult for doses 300 to 400 milligrams a week. And of course, longer-term coaching for sexual function and perfectly dialing in on TRT, which are 50% off, codes on the screen and down in the description of this video. So we're going to couch giant testosterone injections as 150 to 250 milligrams at once. And the effects are essentially the same across those doses, just more intense as you go to 200 or 250 as opposed to 150 milligrams at once. But even at the lower end at 150, you're still going to feel all these things, just to a lesser extent than compared to 200 or 250 at once. Okay, so the first thing, and this may be a little bit of a caveat for folks, especially if you're not used to it, is within the first 1 to 3 days, let's just call this a 200 milligram injection. Like if you're not used to it and you've been injecting micro amounts, there's going to be a degree of aggression, right? Aggressiveness that you have, whether it's toward work, toward business, toward life, and where you have to be careful is you're probably going to get a tad bit more ticked off easier than you otherwise would. So this is where you've got to learn to channel it so that you don't yell at your wife or yell at your kids. What we've all said and known about testosterone is absolutely true. Testosterone makes us aggressive, right? It is what gives us our male demeanor, that and of course DHT. And when you inject giant amounts of testosterone, when your body isn't used to it, in that 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4 day period after injection, you're going to notice more aggression. So be careful about that. Channel it appropriately toward being productive and doing the right things, and you will have no problems. Secondly, within the first 1 to 3 days of injection, you will notice, if you are a gym goer, that your pumps are noticeably better. The thing about testosterone via the nitrogen retention and all the anabolic effects is that you don't have to go and put in 2 straight months of hard charging work at the gym to notice that your body is looking different. Right away, especially as you get into the second and the third iteration of those giant injections, your body is going to look different. Particularly when you're at the gym lifting weights, you will have a bigger pump. And it's nice. It's nice to sit at the gym. You know, there's mirrors everywhere, and you just look like an animal. Now, the strength doesn't necessarily come right away. You're really looking at week 2, week 3 on bigger bolus injections at once, especially if you've raised your dose from a lower-end TRT dose to a higher-end TRT dose or a sports TRT dose. Then the strength starts to show up. But the pumps, they're insane. Third thing that happens when you inject a giant injection of testosterone when you're previously not used to it is you will have nocturnal erections at a higher frequency than you've had before and with a higher degree of rigidity. I've gotten nocturnal erections throughout my entire time on TRT as long as the protocol was right and estrogen and DHT were in the right balance. But, moving to bolus injections at once, which I've done over the last 3 or 4 months, and of course, historically running sports TRT in cycles, my erections in the middle of the night are always more frequent and more rigid. You are getting a higher peak in the nitric oxide optimizing endothelial facilitating element, metabolite of testosterone, which is dihydrotestosterone. So that big peak is going to give you better, harder, and more frequent nocturnal erections, which is great. That maintenances the health of your penis. Okay, if you want a surefire way to make sure that you are fostering the underlying mechanics, the health of the underlying mechanics of your erections, especially as you age, nocturnal erections are it. All right, the next thing that happens when you inject a giant amount of testosterone at once is your libido changes. I talk to many guys in a coaching capacity where their libido on moderate doses of TRT is like fine sometimes. Maybe, they get going when sex initiates and it's okay, considerably good even, but it isn't insane. When you inject large amounts of testosterone at once, the change in libido goes from kind of normal and maybe sometimes pretty good to exceptionally aggressive. Listen, sex, most of the time, unless you're just like consciously trying to gently make love, is an aggressive act. You get to experience like the fullest version of that from your perspective as a man when you inject large amounts of testosterone at once. At the same time, you might end up doing things with your partner during intercourse that you otherwise wouldn't do. You're just more interested in doing more stuff. Some people think that down at the moderate doses of TRT, as long as you manage estrogen and get your hormone ratio in the right place, that you can achieve the same level of libido that you can on higher doses of testosterone. And I can definitely say to you, irrefutably, objectively, you cannot. Believe me, when you inject a lot of testosterone at once, the libido, it's like it just goes on fucking overdrive. The next thing that happens is, especially for those of you that are used to more frequent injections like every day, every other day, or every third day, and you get troughs that start to feel like you're tired and you're losing it, you're losing your essence, and you're losing your energy. On larger amounts of testosterone, 200 milligrams and above, this could also be said for 150 for some people, 170, 180, but you want to be in the 180 to 200 milligram mark to really feel the full benefit of this. You do not feel tired at trough. You can finally operate like the guys who inject once every 7 days. Libido erections are great throughout, and they feel amazing, and they don't have a come down. But it has to be enough testosterone. Your mileage might vary, and other people's mileage kind of varies. But generally, this is true. And today, for me personally, this is the 6.5 day since I last injected 250 milligrams. So I run an even 250 every 7 days. Dude, I have no trough. Like yesterday, I didn't feel tired. This morning, today's day 6. I don't feel tired. I've been energized all day. I went on an hour-long walk earlier today. In the heat, by the way. Okay, it's the early evening, and I still feel like an animal. Tomorrow, I re-inject. You don't feel those annoying troughs. You don't feel these annoying imbalances and mismatches in your energy. A lot of people do this. They're injecting every third day, right? Injecting every other day, and it's just these small amounts of testosterone by the time you get to kind of the trough of that. Or if the dose is too low and you're injecting every fourth or fifth day, you start feeling crappy. Right? You inject a giant amount of testosterone and it's enough for your body at once, you don't have troughs. You don't physically feel crappy during the actual trough. Last thing that happens is your entire TRT protocol is dramatically more simplified. I haven't thought about a needle or drawing from a vial or injecting in almost 7 days. The act and the instance of using testosterone, it's not even in my mind. It happens once a week. I inject and then I move on with my life. I inject and then I move on with my life. So it dramatically simplifies your TRT protocol to the point where you're not even, a lot of people are just hyper-focused and they constantly are changing things as they're doing their injections way too frequently. They're not getting enough testosterone at once, and TRT runs their brain. Inject more at once, especially giant amounts of testosterone. TRT and the injection part of it is not really a big part of your life, right? It's a once a week thing. It's a once every fourth day, once every fifth day thing. And then you move on with your life. Look, a lot of people are trapped on daily injections, trapped on low doses, and trapped on not really having great energy, libido, and erections on TRT. And therefore, most men don't actually get to experience what testosterone is truly capable of. That's why I built High Dose TRT Mastery. Okay, it's an hour-long video course showing you exactly the protocol framework, how to adjust them, but importantly, achieving libido and erections that you can't achieve on regular TRT doses, and at the same time enjoying sports TRT or cycle-level anabolism and strength. If you're tired of playing with small TRT, get High Dose TRT Mastery. It's down in the description of this video. I promise you will love the course and you will get a lot of value out of it. The TRT Protocol audit has been one of our most popular consults over the last month, and it is because it is a simple, lower cost way to get on a call with me to have me analyze your protocol and give you suggestions on how to fix your biggest problems. You can book this in under a minute at livecortex.com or down in the description of this video. You and I are on the call within a day or two. Let's do it. Again, for specifically sexual function, we've got a consult for that. You got a 45-minute call with me, and I will actually generate protocols for you tailored to your physiology. That is the TRT Sexual Function Enhancement Consult. It's for people that can't get libido and erection straight on TRT and that don't want to do long-term coaching cycles. However, some sexual dysfunction, especially erection issues and deep libido problems, take time to resolve. That is what the 3-month and the 6-month TRT sexual function coaching programs are for. Where you're working one-on-one with me, full protocol architecture, but throughout the feedback process, I'm adjusting your protocol to perfection. 50% off. You can book me in under a minute, and all links are down in the description of this video. And of course, lastly, we have Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT, Mastering Tescipionate for Libido and Erections, Mastering Testosterone Cream. We have a source list, a bunch of TRT-based products that will help you sharpen your knives to be dialed in on TRT in the description or at livecortex.com. Listen, what keeps this channel is feedback from users, so I would love for you to like the video. If you've made it this far, do me that favor, smash the like button, bro. Sub to the channel. Listen, we've been talking about this forever, and we're going to continue talking about all things related to TRT from a science-based and an experience-based perspective. I'd love to have you on board. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on, enjoy the rest of your day, and brother, I'll talk to you in the next one.